Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And I figured I'd start off with the fact that we've got an absolutely beautiful day of weather ahead of us. As you take a look at the U.S. satellite loop, we had our weather system that brought a little bit of rain during yesterday into the evening hours. That has already moved out to the northeast, and you can see it right here. But meanwhile, look at all this dry air that just covers uh, all of the virtually all of the east coast of the United States, running down to Florida, going all the way back into Texas, and then on up into the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley. Just lots of sunshine all over the place east of the Mississippi. But we're starting to see the next round of changes. This is going to be the weather system that's going to head to the east over the next couple of days. We also have a shortwave, a strong trough that is dropping down from the north. That's going to create a storm system that's going to bring cold, wind, and in some places, yes, may snow and accumulating snow at that. And it's basically going to be in elevated areas above, say, 1,500 feet. But just the fact that we're talking about snow in May is very, very unusual to say the least. Meanwhile, as we look ahead to the radar, we've got really not much going on across the United States. You see the band of rain that is breaking out ahead of that system that's coming out of the northern Rockies that's moving into the east, but it's very, very quiet up and down the eastern seaboard with no weather issues from that. Our surface map this morning, our coastal low is well out east of Cape Cod. We've got a weak cold front that is dropping down through the Great Lakes and on up into the northern plains. And of course, we've got all this energy that is sitting out in the Rockies that is going to be pushing to the east. Now, with respect to severe weather risks today, we are going to see a slight risk of severe weather ahead of that system coming out of the Rockies and into the plains, a slight risk of severe weather in parts of north and northwest Texas into Oklahoma, larger area of marginal risk. But that is just about it. And over the next couple of days, severe weather is going to be pretty much at a minimum. So let's look at what is happening in terms of the upper atmosphere. Why are we seeing this possibility that some areas could wind up with some accumulating wet snow Friday night into Saturday? Well, you have, of course, our system from yesterday, and that is showing up as this weak shortwave that is moving off the East Coast. Here's your system in the plains, and right up here, that is the energy from Canada. We've had this very, very strong, persistent jet that has been running from northern Canada straight southward and south into the eastern part of the United States. That's a wintertime setup that would have probably meant for very cold and snowy conditions across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, except we saw no signs of that pattern throughout the entire winter. But watch what happens here. That northern trough drops down. It's going to bring in some colder air during Friday, and then it begins to rotate around. Meanwhile, you've got your plains shortwave, the Rockies and Plains shortwave that's swinging down and around as well, and those two are going to phase to an extent as it runs up and swings towards the East Coast and strengthens. And this is a very, very dynamic looking upper air. Especially given this time of year, you don't usually see setups like this. So we're going to just move it along. Again, today, a great day with no issues. Tomorrow, we'll have sunshine giving way to arriving clouds. There's a weak cold front that comes through here late tonight. And then you can see all this cold air that's out to the west that is building from this big high that is coming down. Here's your storm system that's going to run up northeastward, and there's some colder air that's coming southward from eastern Canada. So later tomorrow, during the later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night, you're going to have rain developing on the northern edge of this. There's going to be some wet snow. You can see that the GFS picks up on it right in here. The NAM model actually is a little bit more bullish with the idea of the colder air being brought in, and then the low runs up and strengthens in the Gulf of Maine. So Maine and parts of New Hampshire could actually see some heavy wet snow for a while out of this. And then as that low strengthens on Saturday, it's going to be windy and very cold. We'll have what I often refer to as self-destructive sunshine because of the very cold, unstable air aloft. That's going to produce some rain and snow showers on Saturday. So the storm system's still going to have some impact here on Saturday, and it'll still be windy into Mother's Day, although we'll have more in the way of sunshine. Let me just emphasize, as far as temperatures are concerned, Saturday we are going to be hard pressed to get out of the 40s, and that's going to be 15 to as much as 20 degrees below normal in some places. We are going to take a look just real quick. I want to show you the snow probabilities here from the Weather Prediction Center. And I often use, I am showing you the map here, the probability of at least 2 inches of accumulation. Now, again, I want to emphasize that we're talking mostly elevated areas, at the very least above 1,000 feet and probably above 1,500 feet. The darker green is a probability of 30 to 40%. And that runs as far south as northwest New Jersey down to Scranton in the Hudson Valley north of Route 84, and then on northward into Connecticut north of Route 84. If you want to look at the yellow, that's a 5 to 10% chance of at least 2 inches, extending as far south as south central and southeastern Pennsylvania to about New York City. So that's a very, very low chance. You'd have to have everything happen perfectly for any kind of wet snow accumulation out of this. And by the way, all of this falls at night, so there's no sun angle here to worry about. It times out that it's in the nighttime hours. I think the best way, I think this does suggest that even down to the coast, that there might be some wet snowflakes that mix in to give snow lovers a cheap thrill. So I guess because it's the month of May, it'll be regarded as quite the event. And just to give you an idea in terms of snow amounts from the Weather Service forecasting snow amounts out of this, we're looking at some big amounts up in Maine. There's a shocker, 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches of snow there. But moving to the south, I would regard the areas that you'll see the lightest blue, which runs up from the mountains of West Virginia in through western Pennsylvania, west of Altoona and State College, and then turns east from there along Route 80 into northwest New Jersey, and then in the Hudson Valley north of Route 84 and in northwest Connecticut. We're talking about maybe a coating to, maybe an inch. Again, elevation 1,500 feet. Then you start to see the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Those are definitely in elevated areas above 1,500 feet. And the other big story is a fact I think to pay attention to, by the way, this weekend is going to be Sunday morning, where temperatures are going to be down in the 30s, and in many cold spots, it will be down close to the freezing mark. So you want to pay attention to that because many of you may have already planted some of your more sensitive annuals and vegetables. So if we wind up having to adjust these numbers down, there is the possibility of some late season freezes here. And that may be the only cold night to worry about because Sunday night into Monday morning, we're looking at temperatures that'll probably be more in the upper 30s to mid 40s. And that's because the next weather system will be approaching for early next week. So there you have it. I guess the best way to look at this is to say, hey, it's not locusts because with everything going on, um, why are we even at all surprised that we're seeing a possibility of snow in the month of May? But you know what? Today's a beautiful day. Lots of sunshine all day long. Highs will be in the 60s. Highs in some places in the warm spots, mid to upper 60s. Absolutely enjoy it. And we will see you later this evening on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. Have a great Thursday.